Erica Lorraine Spencer here. This is the P.O.C. pattern of conduct, the ongoing real-time documentation of what is the criminal pattern of conduct of federal stalking in violation of 18 U.S.C. sections 2261A subsection 1 and subsection 2. This is the pattern of conduct underway by a public entity, that is the state of California, that is engaging in federal stalking in concert with the people of the state of California. So this is group conduct. And this is the practicing of what are the criminal elements of monitoring amongst what is the demon possessed. And so this is what is documentation of terrorism as it is underway by a public entity in concert with the people of the state who are in the shoes of the government as this criminal system is in ceaseless operation. And as the state engages in this demented group conduct, this is revealing how the public entity, that is the state of California, that is in the United States of America, how terrorism of an American citizen plays out, what that looks like, how that is facilitated amongst a people, amongst a government, how it is public corruption in plain sight, and not only that, how you formulate policy and how you prosecute that which is demonic conduct, it's demonic activity, but that which is in no way impervious to prosecution in federal court, and being subject to ratification into federal policy. This is the P.O.C. All right, it is Sunday, October 3rd, 2021, and what I'm capturing while I'm inside of the vehicle at 630 North Fern, I'm capturing what is the presence of directed light, and this is a method of directed light. What you can see are little, I would call them like little strips, little lines of concentrated color of directed light, golden color directed light. And you also have what is the presence of directed light. As I've shown, the state engages in, for example, molesting with light. This is how you have a shadow in the shade. It's magnified light. It's appearing where you have double shadows. This is what is present in the car. And so I'm showing both methods because where I am showing what is the state touching with that which is impossible light. And I've shown in video where the state's fake sun is present. That's the hallmark. Where the state's fake sun is directed light is present. This is stalking with light. The totality of that pattern of conduct is present. So the state's fake sun is over the vehicle at 630 North Fern, and I'm capturing this, and I'm also reminding you of what I just captured yesterday. And as what I've been documenting is the state's fake sun being over the Upland Public Library in the city of Upland at 450 North Euclid Avenue, and being clearly captured through the window. The state is aiming impossible light activity through the windows of that venue. You're looking at that demon, that oversized Caucasian male who is standing next to the window as I'm showing you what is the literal random trajectory of directed concentrated light that's appearing next to the book stack on the first level where I'm entering the, not the bathroom, excuse me, the library. On the side, and then I show you the window where I have documented the state's fake sun directly over the window, and the state is aiming light, and this is at an angle because the state being over a structure does not create this trajectory of light inside of the building. The state is aiming light at an angle, and then the false assumption, and this is the ignorance of the entity, and this is just revealing demonic activity. You're looking at that which is supposed to be the sun, all right, and this is pure ignorance, all right. You're looking at that, oh, that's the sun, and this is sunlight that's inside of the building because you're looking at the sun. That is literally the basic absence of logic that is used while the state engages in these methods of stalking with light. But like I said, the actual sun being over a structure, not adjacent, first of all, to structures. It's not at the height of a building. The sun is a star. The sun is in the sky. The sun is above the buildings that are built. And second of all, the sun being over the building does not result in this aiming of light at an angle spreading onto and into the depths of the building. And this is what I've shown as I'm at that window inside at the Upland Public Library on the second floor, because you enter at the top of the staircase, right? And you take the elevator down to get to the first floor where I've shown you at where you're facing D Street, and the state keeps its fake sun there all day long, which I've captured after 10 a.m. and up to after 5 p.m. actually, because yesterday the state went even further and kept its directed light, which it did more so, and that's the demonic conduct. That's what I'm speaking to, the impermissible threat. This is the psychopath. As you capture them engaged in that which is highly damning, there's no argument for it. It is exactly what I have described it to be, and I have captured what is irreducible direct evidence of it. The psychopath, this is demonic conduct, engages in more of it, okay? That's the psychopath. That's speaking to the threat waged while the government engages in satanic targeting of an American citizen. So regardless of that, what I'm capturing is a fake sun, which is over the vehicle in the city of Ontario at 630 North Fern Avenue. And that is impossible with being over, like I clearly captured, over my head at the Upland Unified School District, at the Upland Public Library, at the Upland City Hall, where the state's fake sun is over that building. The state is keeping its directed light at the staircase, through the window, as I showed you, that random appearing, that new placement, because it wasn't there before, all right? And then the state is aiming what is directed light and touching my breast, touching the chair inside of the car, and this is through the passenger side of the window. Understand, I showed in video, the state's fake sun is hitting what would be the driver's side, okay? And just like I was documenting last night, I'm in the same position. The state was molesting my breast, and it was more light, okay? The state engages in a carnival of lights inside of the vehicle. What I've shown, again, while the state is aware that I'm monitoring, it's keeping its direct light, and understand it's equally impossible. Not only are the windows covered, it is aiming light through what is the passenger area of the car, the passenger side, and necessarily so to hit what I'm showing you, the driver seat. And not only that, as I put my camera on it, this orange colored light immediately disappears. That's called terrorism, by the way. I'm showing you what are the methods of terrorism as it is inside of the venue of what is a vehicle, for example, where the state knows I am sleeping. And this is why they're stalking in a helicopter and planes over the car, okay? That's why the fake sun is over the car. And so this is impossible light activity while I'm also in the shade. And so I'm showing you the area that I'm in, and I'm showing you what is the placement of light on my body. Okay, this is touching by the state that is stalking with light, and that is stalking and by plane, helicopter, and what the state is also doing, which is amplifying sirens while they're touching your body. All right, so this is the prosecution for sexual violence while the psychopath that is stalking with light touches you with that light. That which is not sunlight, under that which is not the sun, and it's also that which is not in conformity with the placement of its fake sun. This is the light that is filling the venue of the Upland Public Library that I showed you, and the state is molesting my body with it. This is what the state was doing last night, as I also captured on video and on my podcast. The state that began and continued like a psychopath, the outward demonstration of demon possession, while they're engaging in terrorism by virtue of the identity being the state, stalking in a helicopter, repeatedly flying in a circle over the vehicle, and molesting my breasts with what is directed light. No headlights are going to engage in that. There is no street light that's engaging in circular moving all around inside of the vehicle. You see that the windshield is covered, so is the back window, and the driver's side of the windows are covered. The people are engaging in this group conduct. These are the elements of monitoring. But it's also the ongoing demonic behavioral pattern of engaging in what is sexual violence with knowledge of what I'm documenting while they're engaging in federal stalking. That's the sex offender, and that's the psychopath. And while the fake sun is over the vehicle today at 10 a.m., and it is hitting not the passenger side of the car, and not only that, the windshield is covered, and you have what is the appearance of, and this is necessarily directed light being aimed through the passenger side. That's on the opposite side of where the fake sun is. So through the passenger door, directed light is being aimed, and that's why my shadow is appearing what is on the seat as I am holding it up on my video. My shadow is also appearing on the passenger seat of the chair itself. As I'm hitting what is the driver's seat, a shadow is appearing on the passenger seat as well. This is directed light that's being aimed through the passenger side of the car, and it's also directed light. It's more than one shadow. This is directed light. What you see is concentrated directed light, a little strip of light that's touching underneath my breast, touching on my arm, that is coming through what is the passenger side of the car. It is impossible light activity while I'm sitting in the shade. I'm showing you the surroundings. This is speaking to and revealing what is the tactics of, and this is just actually that's more than one method of directed light. And while the state is engaging in stalking with light, while the state is keeping its fake sun over this location in direct opposition to everywhere that it's already documented being present, all right, that in and of itself is establishing what is ongoing. This is the sexual violence inherent to that demonic system of stalking with light, while federal stalking is underway by the demon possessed. All of them paying attention, focused on where I am inside of a vehicle. That's why the state is stalking by plane and helicopter over this car. That's why the state's fake sun is over this car. And it is impossible to coexist with being at the same time over D Street. aimed inside of the window at the Upland Public Library. All right, that's not coexisting. This is the fake sun at the Upland Public Library when I'm there. This is the fake sun over the car at 630 North Fern, and aiming what is impossible light activity inside of that car, and stalking with plane and helicopter over the car while I'm here. Okay, it's 10:38 a.m. and that's P.O.C. and that is documentation of sexual violence. And those are pictures that I took so you can see what is the placement. It's just random placement of light, just like the state does inside of venues. It's keeping light on surfaces. The state is doing that with my body, touching me with directed light. That's a sex offender. Okay, 10:38 a.m. P.O.C. All right, I did go ahead and capture another video at 10:38, also showing what is the ongoing presence, the maintenance of that which is not the sun over that which is not the Upland Public Library, let alone the Ontario Ovid Family Community Library, let alone the bus stop of the, let me see, 404 South Euclid, where I believe I was on September 20th. After I'm exiting the Ontario Ovid Family Community Library, state keeps its fake sun there, keeps it in the window of the Omnitrans bus as I drive and driven north up Euclid Avenue. And this is what I documented. This is the state's fake sun remaining over the vehicle. And be clear, this is documentation of what is not the sun. And then I'm showing you what is the actual. You're also looking at the actual environment where I'm actually in the shade, the passenger side of the vehicle, which is covered with the windshield. The windshield is covered. And you're seeing what is a strip. That's that small strip of concentrated light, the color that you can see, is a method of directed light because directed light is covering the inside of the car. That's why my shadow of my hand was appearing in more than one place inside of the car while I'm pointing out things in my video. This is directed light that's filling the car. The concentrated color of directed light is what you were seeing, and I'm also showing you how this is impossible light, not only because that's not the sun at 10:38 in the morning, in direct conflict with every other location where the state is keeping its fake sun directly over me inside of a building and aiming its directed light, but also because this is magnified concentrated light. The window is covered, and you have what is the, which I've also shown the state magnifying its light. The state has engaged in this while being inside of a private space, for example, a hotel room, as I've already documented, and aiming light through a peephole in the door. And the state magnified its light through the peephole. That you look through in order to see who's knocking on the door. The state aimed its concentrated light through a peephole, and it created a magnified size of light into the hotel room. This is at Ramada off of G Street, where federal stalking was underway last night, where the Ontario Police Department were group stalking at the In and Out, where Avante Apartments, that's what I was documenting last night. At the Ramada, it's on that same street, and the state was aiming impossible light through the peephole of the door, and it created a magnified size of a circular size. This is touching surfaces in the light, and it appeared on the lamp inside of the room, and it was coming through the peephole. That's what the state is doing through the car. The windshield is covered. This is not the sun that's over the vehicle, by the way, so you're going to remember that as well. And this is only one method. This colored light that you see on the pillow, this is what the state is touching my breast with. This is all directed light, in addition to what is filling the car with directed light, and that's why I have double shadows of my hand. In addition to what the state was doing while I'm sleeping, this is the sex offender touching all over and molesting with light 24/7 while I'm inside and outside. Okay, it's 10:44 a.m. While I capture that video, the state is also amplifying plane engines. Ongoing hallmark. Okay, it is 630 North Fern Avenue where the state's fake sun is. Not over Upland Public Library facing D Street. Also impossible to coexist with ever being over my head, contrary to what I documented. Arrow Highway, which I would never be able to see, facing D Street, which is the only area and location and vantage point of vision of the state's fake sun. I would never be able to capture Arrow Highway, but that's where the state's fake sun was, by the way. Leaving the seal, and this is what I'm saying. As the Upland Public Library engaged in criminal summoning, the state's fake sun left the top portion of their venue immediately as I exit that venue. It's no longer over the library, contrary to what I just documented yesterday. Okay? And so this is what you're documenting while I'm capturing what are psychopaths in that environment. They don't have any credibility. There is no form. These are the demon-possessed who are hostile to being revealed as such and who are hostile to documentation, and they're acting with the government, and they are violent sex offenders. It's 10:45 a.m. showing you all the ways in which you are violating the person while you're stalking and monitoring. That's P.O.C. It's 10:45 a.m. That's audible activity, stalking with activity. Directed light on the wall of the Stater Brothers, and they're creating activity inside of the venue. LALABLA. Monitoring, this is bathroom monitoring. They're under the fake sun at 646 West Hall. Ontario Village is monitoring inside of the bathroom. These are the demon possessed and their sex offenders. 68178E3. 8FZW158. And let me show you a video. It is 1104. State's fake sun, not over D Street in the city of Upland, over the Upland Public Library. All right, I did capture the state's fake son and directed light inside of the Stater Brothers. Get some more sex offenders. Monitoring while my panties are down and stalking with audible activity as I exit. 8CVL 385. This is Stater Brothers at 646 West Hall. 66813C3. 7JMS 691. 8FZW158, because I didn't read that one already. 6KUY 366. 8LZW 942. 7HHV 814. 8JPX 820. 7PRT 819. Directed light on this demon-possessed stalker's vehicle under the fake sun 24772S1. 6UOH 496. They're all sex offenders, okay? They're all demon-possessed. I'm identifying them name by name. 8VSS 692. And let me be clear, I'm identifying the state with each license plate. This is the same entity. And this is exposing demonic activity. And they are sexual perverts. 04594M1. It's P.O.C. at Ontario Village Shopping Center. Fake sun captured at 11:04 a.m. All right, it is currently 11:27 a.m. 58724Y2, 8BHJ 622, 8VEH 330, 7BUK 385. At Philadelphia and Grove in the state's keeping its light source right in the window. This is systematic monitoring. The Starbucks at 2195, Starbucks 2195 on Grove Avenue, they're monitoring. All right, the state's fake sun is over my vehicle, so I'm subject to federal stalking while I'm en route. This is federal stalking utilizing interstate commerce on the roads and the highways. That's why the state is stalking with the light source. And by the way, very far from D Street, aiming through the window and through the ceiling of the Upland Public Library. That goes without saying. So this is ongoing systematic documentation of the demon-possessed who are engaging in monitoring while I am being transported in a vehicle on the roads and the highways, subject to monitoring with communication devices. That is the operation of a communication device in the background. It's also audible activity. License 7MSK544, 6YTD289, 8AZJ320. And understand, while the state is stalking with a fake sun and covering my body with molesting my body with that which is directed light and not sunlight, under that which is not the sun. This is terrorism and sexual violence. Okay, I'm at Francis and Grove. It's 11:28 a.m.
On East Francis Street for 3/4 of a mile.
And let me be clear how the state's pattern of conduct reveals the existence of the system. Everywhere that the state's light source is going is speaking to the existence. Ontario Police 1516972. Demon-possessed stalker makes a U-turn. Everywhere that the state's fake sun goes is revealing the existence of that system. That's why the fake sun is there. All right. So this is the entire breakdown and exposure of what the state of California is engaging in. There is no location. In other words, there's no fast food restaurant. There's no address. There's no apartment building. All right. There's no liquor store that's not engaging in the state's pattern of conduct. That's why the fake sun is there. It was never to be revealed what the state is doing, though. I am revealing literally what the government is doing in the state. 6XWF109. And let me be clear, that demon-possessed stalker, the Ontario Police, literally sped up to drive next to this car and made a U-turn. Just drove up in front, which is crossing path, using its brake lights, and makes a U-turn. That's called pacing, and did so in a vehicle. It's also the intentional communication of a threat under the fake sun, and by virtue of their identity being the Ontario Police Department and having engaged in a pattern of kidnapping, and did so with knowledge of my documentation. That's a psychopath. That's a sex offender. That's a kidnapper. That's a stalker. That's the Ontario Police, whose license plate I just read. Literally a psychopath. Just drove, sped by, and right in front made a U-turn to go back the other way. That's pacing in a car, by the way. I just want to be clear what the demon was doing while they're monitoring. License plate 6BOA764, 7MBX395, 7288856, 6SUY364, 7YEE331, 6PQD639, 6P44603, 7ZCC872, 8TGJ393, 8XO8678, 7HXG733, 7RXB616, It's 11:30 a.m.
Is this mountain up here?
3975 1U2, I believe. Fake sun over campus in Philadelphia. just traveling on what is campus, all right? The state's fake sun remaining directly over me in the car. I am being subject to federal stalking right now. Everywhere that I am being driven to, this is federal stalking via interstate commerce, all right? There's no place where I'm going, in other words, where I'm not subject to the system, all right? So this is documenting everyone in relevant position that I can, identifying anyone in relevant position, because the people are monitoring with the state. And this is the practicing of satanic activity while they do so, all right? The notion of that which is not the sun, which is a method of stalking with light on a massive scale. 6NWN821 is demonic, all right? License plate, Kimball Community Park, that's where I'm at Walnut and Campus. 8BDK991, 7KDY318, 7MON944. Kimball Community Park in the city of Ontario. This is the state's fake sun is directly over me at this location. License plate 8PTA886 is monitoring, engaging in crossing a path, light activity creation, and monitoring with communication devices while driving on the roads and highways. This is federal stalking that they are all engaging in, okay? And while I am in a vehicle being transported subject to federal stalking, and you are inside of any venue or outside in relevant position is systematically ongoing while I'm being transported, right? So you're seeing how that element is being maintained, and the light is being maintained as well, including directed light, which the state is molesting me with. This is documentation of sex offenders also, because while the state is molesting me with light, everybody monitoring with that state is a sex offender, okay? License plate at Euclid and Walnut, 7GID332, 7GSS068, 7GWB864, 8KCH712. Clover Business Center, where the 7-Eleven is. Victor's Cleaners, Best Donuts, Beauty Salon. Clover Business Center at the intersection of Euclid and Walnut. They're monitoring. That's a third-party facilitating venue. The fake sun is over this venue. That's P.O.C. It is 11:33 a.m. (8AYS 704), 8XSE 630. The Kmart. Oh no, that's out of service. That's out of business. Excuse me. That's an abandoned parking lot. Oh, there are venues there. This is monitoring. I'm speaking to where I'm at, where I'm subject to federal stalking. And this is speaking to, again, monitoring with communication devices spans a radius. The state is stalking by plane and helicopter right now and keeping its fake sun over me and keeping directed light in the vehicle as well. All right, so I am surrounded by that environment in traffic, and ongoing systematic federal stalking is underway. San Antonio Avenue and Walnut. This is the city of Chino. 8 U.S.Z 359, I believe. Can't really see that one. 6 TWS 727. 8109 1X1 federal stalking, driving in their vehicle. License 6YDE 344. 8 TWK 400. 6X FH 520. 7 ZAV 550. 7N VM 940, I believe. It's 11:34 a.m. All right, stalking with activity 8LHF 435. And how do they do that on the road? This demon speeds by with simultaneity to my operation of my communication device, all right? That's how you're able to engage in what is pacing, by the way. Imagine yourself being on the road, you're driving. The same pacing conduct is possible, not only as you can have more than one demon cross path in their vehicles, but you can imagine it while you're driving in your car and someone speeds by you, slows down, presses their brakes, and speeds up again, presses their brakes. That's called pacing in a vehicle. Right now, while I'm in the car and I was about to pause, that's operation of my communication device, that demon speeds by, that's crossing a path and light activity creation, and the fake sun is over the vehicle. Impossible light activity on the road, 7VOK670. 17467K2, 7XWU913. 5AOS725. This is federal stalking in the city of Chino. 8 VQT212. All right, at Riverside Drive and Mountain Avenue. This is the city of Chino.
Mountain
It
Avenue
is
in Ontario,
11:36
California.
a.m. ELP 998. All right, it is 11:26 p.m. It's Sunday, October 3rd, 2021. So I just want to document the ongoing sexual violence and harassment by entity. While I am inside of the vehicle on Fern Avenue, this is at 630 North Fern Avenue, and the vehicle is parked facing north on Fern Avenue. This is the people of the state that are driving past, that is, as they are driving what is north and south, crossing path and doing so, and with simultaneity to that, while they are passing what is driving by what is the driver's side of the vehicle. This is the same impossible light activity that the state is aiming directed light through the passenger side window, and this is how the state is covering my face and covering my arms and my breast with directed light. Okay, this is harassment by entity. This is terrorism, and it is also sexual violence. And the state engages in this activity with knowledge of also what I'm looking at on the internet, as it is hostile. For example, as I'm reviewing my documentation of the state sexually molesting me this morning with directed light, and as I am reviewing the video of the state flying over my head in a helicopter while the state is molesting my breast with directed light. As I review this documentation, the state repeats this conduct of aiming substantial light through the passenger side of the vehicle, which is impossible light activity, meaning this is not headlights that are coming through the passenger side of the vehicle, nor is this light activity that's going to result from any vehicle driving north and south past the vehicle while it's parked on the street. This is the same pattern of conduct. I'm speaking to what is sexual violence and harassment by entity while they are engaging in what is terrorism, the demon-possessed engaging in federal stalking. And at 11:25 p.m., this is ongoing. This is just my effort to document while the state is engaging in that, and this is relevant to what is the big picture, and that is the demon possessed with knowledge, engaging in the system of federal stalking with knowledge of what you are documenting about their demented behavioral pattern and pattern of conduct. All right, this is speaking to the threat to the very life of the target individual, and speaking to the exceedingly violent sex offender that are the people of the state of California that are in the shoes of the government. They are the vicarious aspect of that entity. This is literally entirely intentional and very demented. All right, you're talking about stalking with light and engaging in stalking with light by also molesting your body with this that is unnaturally occurring. This is the state's engineered light, which is a method of sexual violence. And so this is documentation of that, and the psychopath that repeatedly engages in such sexual violence as you report it. Okay, that's a very violent and threatening sex offender, and this is the government engaging in so. Okay, it's 11:28 p.m. and that is P.O.C.